Welcome back. This is yet another second set that I'm having with another set of guys. Continuing on the review, the sit down of Undeserved Rights. The book launched on the 30th of June 2023 in Moscow, and with me I have two presidents. Ironically, I didn't think of this, it just dawned on me. So yeah, my name is Joseph, author of Undeserved Rights, and I'm joined by, let me start here.
My name is Gift Kangele, the president, like you said, of the Association of Zambian Students in Moscow. I'm also many things aside that, but hopefully you'll get... This is not my show, so I'll end here.
Interesting.
My name is James Masela. I am a medical student, and like he earlier introduced us, I am the president of Zambian Students at RUDN University.
Great. So I'm surrounded by His Excellencies. Okay, yeah. So guys, we are talking about Undeserved Rights. Both of you attended the book launch. What would you say a person who did not attend the book launch missed? Or what did you get out of that event?
Honestly, having missed the book launch, I think is something that somebody should wish to get back to. But I mean, we can't go back in time. So for me personally, having attended the book launch, I think it was one of those events that I was really looking forward to, and I was also intrigued by the title itself, Undeserved Rights. I was just like, what is this book all about? Undeserved rights. Yeah. You know, I didn't really understand until a certain time, and having attended the launch, you know, the Q&A, the people were there. It was just amazing. And it also gave me a chance to have been able to interact with you prior to reading the book. So it was something that prepared me to even read and understand the book better.
Great.
For me, what really stood out, my favorite part, of course, is the Q&A, because I believe when someone writes a book, even the many books that we've read, some of us would at times wish to maybe meet the author and ask them personal questions on how the whole idea came about of them writing a book. So for me, the Q&A part was really interesting, and I was even fortunate enough to ask one question, which I was satisfied with the response I got. So.
Yeah. What was the question? What did you ask?
Can you even remember?
Of course I remember.
Okay.
Of course I remember. My question was how people are going to relate with the book.
Okay.
Yeah, and he really elaborated more on it. I don't want to dwell much on that.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so after having read the book, I believe all of you have read. And do you think what you see, starting from the cover and the title, resonates with what's in the book, or after reading you are like, it's not the impression I got when I started, it's actually a different impression? Or does it like, oh, okay, now this makes sense, the title makes sense, maybe the cover makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I think you know, now I get the concept of it. Actually, most of the times when I'm having conversations with different people, at some point I actually go like, undeserved rights.
This is James to me every time. I'm like, pass through the room, it's like, that's an undeserved visit. I'm like, really?
So yeah, you can almost see how it is now. It has affected almost every part of my life, and but I think I've gotten to appreciate it even more having read it. So what you see here is definitely what is in it. Actually, you even get to appreciate it more after reading it through. So it's something that I would highly recommend anyone to be able to dive into.
Yes.
Actually, I had a copy when I was going somewhere, and somebody just grabbed it from me and was like, "Okay, let's see this book," and they were really intrigued by the cover.
Yeah.
Actually, they took your email and they were like, "Okay, I would love if I'm going to get this." They wanted to get the copy from me, but they were like, "No, I just have to email the author." Yeah. That's how I want to receive it. So yeah, perfect. It does match the content.
Okay, so looking at the fact that I'm with two presidents of Zambian Students, there's a part in the book on page 8 where I talk about let me read. So it reads, now back to the main point. So in 2017 there was a scholarship program that awarded scholarships to over 100 Zambian students to study in various fields in the Russian Federation. and I happened to be among the students. Among other recipients, 2 stood out for me. One worked hard despite facing extreme code and cultural differences, with the language being a major hindrance, and another was lured by the temptations of the Russian cities and lack of parental control, exacerbated by overwhelming freedom, and ultimately failed to perform well, leading to the expulsion. So what I was just trying to build on here is, I also been the president at some point. One of the most disheartening things was when I have to escort somebody back to the airport, going back home and things like that. And when having conversations, especially with RUDN, because that's where you find a lot of Zambians, for example, and mostly those doing medical programs, you find them at RUDN in Moscow. And what I used to get from most of those people was, no, the language is hard for me. No, the teacher didn't like me. She's racist, he's racist, things like that. So now I was able to map out and look like there are 2 groups of students, and this has nothing to do with whether this person parties, they don't party. I'm just looking at it from the aspect of school. So there's one group of students who we came from the same school system, we did literally the same syllabus, and we come here and you find that one section of students really try the best, to make sure that they succeed in whichever field they are in. And there's another group which will say, the language is hard, I won't hand in the assignment and things like that. So I was trying to discuss here that, talking about deserving, when somebody is given a scholarship, and obviously we received the scholarship because you had good marks, in your secondary exams. Can you say we are deserving of the scholarship merely because we did well before we came here, or we have to complete this cycle of deserving the scholarship by getting good grades in your secondary education and also making sure you utilize this scholarship after getting it? The other example I would give you is at work. So if you're working so hard and your manager promotes you, yes, they'll look at your track record, they'll look at how hardworking you have been, but it's not like after they promote you now you should start coming for work at 15 hours because they have promoted you. What their employer is looking at is the fact that if James can work this hard as a junior officer, if I give him this promotion and give him more responsibilities and power, he's going to even work extra harder. And this is going to be beneficial to me as the owner of the company and stuff like that. So let me start with James. Do you think we deserve these scholarships because we're at 6 points, or any other grading system you might be familiar with, or it has to be a 2-bound thing? Yes, you got good results and you should use the scholarship properly.
Yeah, for me, I feel at some point you've even answered how I want to answer this question. And you get the reason why. When someone is awarded the scholarship, obviously the end goal as the person giving the person that scholarship is for that person to, if you're doing a degree program, you obviously get a degree. And once you get a degree, for us, since we are having a Zambian scholarship, you go home with your degree, then you help the fraternity that you studied in. For example, if I'm a medical student, at the end of the day, I graduate with my degree, I go home, I start working. The aim or the goal of the government is for you to at least contribute to the development of your country. And that being said, of course, I know that the criteria that I need to have, firstly, for me to deserve this scholarship is that I need to get good grades previously. And which brings us to the book where you wrote about compository and promissory. So on that part, we have the compository. I ended. If that's the criteria for giving the scholarship, yes, I earned it.
Right.
But apart from earning it, what do I do with it? That's the next question. Am I being fair if I squander the opportunity of the scholarship? Am I being fair to my sponsors if I literally throw this in the dust? So for me, I look at it at 2 ways. Firstly, it's an aspect of us deserving it because of our past results, and also an aspect of us, more of keeping a promise or working hard in our future endeavors to ensure that, okay, this person really saw something in me, and let me try to reach the full potential of that which they saw in me. So for me, I look at it that way.
Yeah, I'll bring the question to you as well, but I'm going to add on top. This can also apply in relationships. So chasing, buying presents,
I'm
compliments.
glad that question didn't come to me.
Good morning, good night, how is your day going? And then when the girl says, okay, I think I like this guy, you stop. So now, I mean, it might be more practical if you look at it from that angle. So would you say you really deserved to have that girl if after all this chase you finished and then you just like relax and stop doing that? Don't you think it's something we do to the scholarship thing and any other, maybe a promotion at work?
Yeah, I think it's a bit complex in a way, but it's something that we can definitely navigate. In that it's easy to be able to tell from something that you've witnessed, right?
Yeah.
Because something that when you are just looking at potential sometimes can be misjudged. You know, some people can show high potential or being able to do certain things, but it so happens that when they're provided with certain opportunities, suddenly the potential that you were able to see in them is not there. Yeah. So sometimes it becomes easier for people to be awarded or even punished based off their behavior. But that shouldn't mean that it ends there. As soon as you get something, then it ends there. In the sense of the scholarship, yes, you've been awarded based on your past performance. But you know, past performance does not guarantee future success. Okay, so because you did well, and people are counting on that you are able to do well, so you should continue to do well. We're not saying you are able to do well, we're giving you this so you end here. Actually, they are giving you that particular scholarship so that you can continue to do well. Yes. It's based on that analysis. And also when it comes to relationships, you know, there have been memes around this and certain understandings around this. Have you ever seen once you get what you want, then it ends there? Why else?
Somebody said when a guy scores, he runs away. Like he doesn't sit at the goalpost. Like, you have to run.
I don't think that should be the case, because in a way, what you're also communicating is that, okay, this is what I'm able to provide. And if you're going to enter a relationship with me, this is what you're going to expect. So now that I'm in the relationship, why suddenly should everything end? This should have been communicated. I didn't receive this memo that, you know, these things were just so you can get into it. And then it ends there. So I don't think in a way that does send the right message. So in a relationship setup, what happens from the start is what should continue even in the relationship. But of course, in the scholarship setup, definitely a person should be awarded on the compensatory part as well as that of the promissory part.
I get you. Okay, what would you say? You were telling me your favorite chapter was what?
Yeah, my favorite chapter was actually there are two of them.
Okay,
but the first one is the social media, which happens to be a sixth chapter.
Okay, memes, of
and
course.
Also, apart from that, the victimhood.
Okay,
I think I related so much to it personally on things that I do myself and things that I've seen people do. Especially, let me comment on this before I even answer that part. I love the fact that your book bordered on almost all areas or spheres of our lives. There's relationship part, school part, as a leader part. I was relating to that, and for that's a 10 out of 10.
I'm a little tense.
That's a 10 out of 10. Now back to the victimhood. Let's I'll give an example. You know, a meeting is set up that it would probably start at 3. Then I happen to go at maybe 3:10.
Yes.
And I find that the meeting had already started. They'll be like, why did this meeting start early? This meeting is supposed to at least wait for me to get, to get here. So that in itself, for me, quite alright, you somehow don't see it. But the fact that you have that mindset that everything should happen just when you're there and like the world revolves around you. So we happen to see this kind of attitudes, this kind of behavior in almost our day-to-day lives. And for me, the fact that I was able to relate to many things, I like the chapter that you spoke about social media. I mentioned about social media, how literally everyone nowadays is trying to find anything that validates their actions, be it positive or negative. It's actually good. If it's positive, it's good. But since we're working towards a greater good, we need to at least minimize or curb the negative stuff that we're seeing. You know, someone might, if they did something wrong, I did something wrong. Let's say I wronged you personally, and I'll be like, why should I apologize? Plus, it's not God.
Let me just find this meme.
Let me find the meme, and I find it.
Make sure I see it.
I find it. If I have a lot of viewers on my status, I would actually block them and just put you to view it. After you view it, I delete it. Mission accomplished.
And in a way, actually, the negative thing also coming out from it is that people are actually avoiding certain conversations that they should be having, because now instead of getting to have a conversation with a person or maybe getting to address whatever issues you are facing head on, now you are resorting to these memes that tend to validate these things. Like you rightly put it, it leaves you in that particular place which you should be getting out of. So you are only building, or you are displaying all these images around you that, oh, you are okay, it's okay to be this way, it's okay to feel this way, it's okay to fail. Well, it's okay to fail, but that doesn't mean that you should end there. You can work your way out of it.
Sorry to cut you short. Like I said, I like the fact that the book touches everywhere. And as a student, the victimhood part, I forgot to mention this, I related to a lot of things. You know, as students, we have this mentality of, like you said, when you're asking about compulsory and promissory aspects, we have this notion of blaming teachers and blaming the on literally anything. Quite right. Maybe you had 10 topics to study and you only studied 8. And and the teacher happens to bring the 2 that you left out, and you'll be like, okay, this teacher just literally hates me. She knew that. Exactly.
Sorry, not to cut you. So, this my professor of pharmacology. So, we went for a colloquium, and she asked this guy, and this guy was like, "Oh, this is the only question I didn't study. Like, if you ask me any other question." So she was like, "I've been working here for like 38 years. And surprisingly, every question I ask a student is the question they didn't study." I don't know what's wrong with me. So it's crazy how she gave me a bad billet. Like she didn't know what was in your head. Every billet is bad if you didn't study.
Exactly. And coming to a conclusion, I've come to a realization that usually if you compare good students to average students, I don't like saying bad students.
You're one of them.
Yeah, well, that's for my lecturers to know. But something that separates good students from average students is that usually good students are able to learn from their mistakes. If they fail a test, usually most of them will like, okay, let me study hard. If I studied 3 hours last time, I'll study 4 hours for the next test. And it usually pays out. But if you're a bad student, you always blame the lecturer. You studied 1 hour, you studied 2 chapters when you were supposed to study 3 chapters. The next test comes, you still study 3. I mean, you still study 2, which apparently it's like a habit you have. And at the end of the day, after you see that you're not seeing results, you still keep on blaming the lecturer. So this same victimhood mindset is what separates, I think, good students from.
And I think it borders on the locus of control, which is also something that I discuss in the book. So if you are a person who has, and previously when I was with Temwani and Poppy, we talked of there's nobody who is completely internal or nobody who is completely external. It's more of a spectrum, And if you lean so much on the external locus of control, with you, there's no problem. The problem is with other people. So if there's no problem with you as a student, the problem with the lecturer giving you a bad, paper, then you won't see a need of working on it because the problem is not on your side. The problem is on the other person's side. So until you understand that the problem is with me, then you can take steps of working on it. If the problem is with James, what should I do about it? Like, it's not within my control. Again, when you're too much on the external aspect, you might begin to punish yourself on things that are really out of your control. Because of late it's been raining in Moscow like crazy, and so you start blaming yourself about that. Like,
what have you done about the
weather? Maybe you have some superpowers we don't know about. So I think you just need to make sure you're on the right part of the spectrum where you understand things that are within your control and you work towards improving them next, and you understand what's out of your control, and just let things
also what I make of the book is I think at the time we're in was such a time where people tend to be quite these autonomous individuals in a way that whatever that I do does not affect anyone, or I don't owe anyone anything. I don't owe anyone any explanation. And what I make out of this book is that actually you owe it to the other person to take care of you in a way, where you speak of rights, responsibilities, and the like. Take care of you in a way that transcends to the other person. Because one interesting thing that you also said, in as much as rights are inherent, like we inherit them, but those rights will not just be there, like they will not just come to you from nowhere. Somebody has to be responsible. Somebody has to take duties in order for them, for you to be able to enjoy them. So in a way, the book is also saying you owe it to the next person to take care of yourself.
So I think in summary, what we can just say is, what I believe my right is your responsibility. If I think I have the right to privacy, your responsibility is not to invade into my privacy. If I believe I have the right to education, somebody has to be responsible enough to build a school, make a desk, go to school and become a teacher and educate. So rights don't just fall from the sky. What I believe is my right is another person's responsibility. And so the best I can do is to use this right that which is a responsibility of another person responsibly, and also grow up and begin to have responsibilities as well, so that I can accord the same right to the next person. I think if we begin to look at things in that way, we're going to live in a very balanced society, in as much as things are not fair.
That's
unfortunately we have reached to the end of our short discussion. Unfortunately,
like 5 minutes.
This has really been short.
Thank you so much for finding time, and I hope you continue reading and obviously pass the word to as many people as possible. And I think we'll call it a day and we'll end from here. Thank you so much, guys. And it's been an amazing conversation that we've had with Gift and James, and I hope it was impactful and meaningful to you as well. Undeserved Rights is on sale in Russia, 1,000 rubles, and for Zambia we are still trying to put things together, but it roughly should be around 100 kwacha as well. Thank you so much, and bye bye.